Now we have Naftali Bennett. He is a minister in the Netanyahu government. Mr. Bennett, thank you for being with us. Your reaction?
Thank you. This deal is a mistake of historic proportions. Effectively, it paves the way for Iran to become a terror nuclear superpower. It's a matter of time. It might not happen tomorrow, but it will happen. What we're doing, in effect, we're going to be funneling, the world is going to be funneling $500 billion, $500 billion to the world's biggest exporter of terror. It's going to legitimize Iran's quest for nuclear power. And in effect, all the promises that we've heard over the past year that the embargo would not be lifted, well, the embargo is lifted on missiles, albeit 5 years down. We've heard that there was going to be anytime, anywhere sanctions. Now we know that it's not anytime, anywhere sanctions. And we know that when the West wants to inspect something, it'll have to be a very cumbersome process that will give enough time for Iran to hide its activities. So this is a terrible deal, and we hope that it's still, the small chance of it being finalized and approved will not happen. But in any case, Israel is prepared for any eventuality.
In terms of what is being offered as virtues of this deal to counteract your concerns, is one, the current condition, which is that Iran has been able to create this impressive framework and structure for making enriched uranium and weapons under sanctions. So they did this under sanctions, which seems to suggest that the sanctions weren't getting the job done. Is there really a better alternative in place?
Absolutely. We were just at the point where the sanctions were becoming crippling. Iran was sort of on the floor, if you think of a boxing match, and the referee was counting down from 10 to 1. And at the very last moment, the West came up and helped Iran on its legs. We have to understand, Iran's goal was not to acquire a nuclear weapon today. Its goal was to acquire a nuclear weapon tomorrow, down the road, but they had a choice of either having a good economy or going down the nuclear weapon route. And now they can get both. And as long as the sanctions were in place, they would never have broken out. They don't want to do that because they know what would happen to Iran. And now we're going to be seeing hundreds of billions of dollars flowing into Iran so they can strengthen Hezbollah and Hamas and terror attacks of the Islamic Republic around the world. You know, there's only two states in the world that deploy troops at measurable scales abroad. That's America in the quest of freedom and freedom, and Iran in the quest of terror. And now they were on the floor. We basically lifted them up, and we're saying take the money, and down the road you can also have a bomb.
What happens if the Iranian parliament okays this deal and the U.S. Congress, as you well know, they're really only have the leverage of not removing the sanctions that Congress itself has in place? They're not going to be able to kill this deal, on its face. If it goes through and it becomes enacted, what will Israel do?
Well, the world is becoming a new place. This is a new era, a new dark and sinister era for the world. We have to understand this. And 20 years down, if a nuclear bomb explodes in London or New York, we'll know that we can trace it down to July 14th, 2015. Israel always said that we will prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon, and we will still do that. We stand behind these words. We're preparing for everything we need to do in order to defend ourselves.
What does that mean, though? You know that the inspections are in place, and that's the best mechanism you have for checking what they do in Iran. What could Israel do that is not part of this deal to keep Iran from getting a bomb?
Well, first of all, we're not giving up on hopefully stemming the relief of the sanctions, because that's been the single thing that has been effective over the past 15 years. These sanctions finally were hurting, especially the financial system-related sanctions, and we still hope that they will not be relieved. On other dimensions of what we might do, I certainly don't intend to share plans with Iran.
All right, Mr. Bennett, thank you very much for giving us a voice from the Israeli government in terms of why you do not see this as a good deal. We will see how the conversation continues. Appreciate you being on CNN and New Day.